did you personally go about your short-term goals and long-term goals? I remember there was a time this was trending in Ghana that when you're even going into a relationship with somebody, ask them about their short-term or long-term. Maybe they might not they might not coincide. So this question is very important, even if academic. So I'll go with Royce, are you able to speak? Let's see whether your network is great.
Hello?
Hi, Raisa.
Hi.
Are you able to speak on this topic? How did you answer your short-term and long-term goals?
Oh, okay. So basically, for the short-term goals, you should be able to answer that within upon when you return to Ghana. So you're looking at a 1 to 2 year term. Okay, so you want to be able to tell Chevening what you are going to do in the next 2 years upon arrival in Ghana. Okay, so for example, if you run an NGO like me, currently I'm running in Accra. I would want to expand, or you would like to expand to all parts of the regions. That is doable, or that is achievable in 2 years. Then for your medium-term goal, when you're writing a Chevening application, note that it's ideal that you state 3 goals, which is your short-term goal, your medium-term goal, before you state your long-term goal. You really want to get into details about what you are going to do for your home country. That is the whole reason why they're investing so much in your education in the UK. So for your medium-term goal, you should be looking like a 5-year run, okay? So a 5-year run, what is doable or what is achievable in your books? Do you want to further expand your NGO for it to cater a wide range of issues? Or do you want to be the next, do you want to collaborate with the government? Do you want to have to pass a bill or change a public policy? Those are all things that are doable in your range after your education in the UK, because you have mastered in the particular issue, you have mastered in a particular theme of what you want to solve. So having a goal like wanting to change or wanting to amend or wanting to make some adjustments or making even a contribution towards a public policy is doable. And for your long-term goal, you really want to look at the 10-year period. I know some people who would want to be ministers. It is doable. It is doable in the next 10 years. You don't have to be old and wrinkly, or you don't have to have 3 masters and a PhD to attain that goal. It's all about how hard you work and the vision that you have in mind and the people that believe in you. Because at the end of the day, you're not going to be working on your own. You're going to be working based on the connections you've built, based on the personality you have, based on even the self-growth that you've achieved or that you have gained. So having a 10-year goal should also be a doable. There is nothing unrealistic. I remember from my personal experience, I asked a friend of mine if my long-term goal was too unrealistic, because I've had comments from people telling me that I am too ambitious as a woman. Yes, I still have people who tell me that. And it makes me feel like, okay, maybe I'm aiming too high, I'm looking too deep. But it took me some time to sit down and say, hey, I know in my bones that in the next 10 years, I'm going to be the General Secretary of the United Nations. That is what you should be talking. That is how you should be speaking. That is what you should be thinking, because that is what Chevening is looking for. They are looking for people who are willing to do the impossible and to change our continent and change our society for the better. So don't be afraid to aim high, even though reasonably. Look at it in your own strength and look at yourself and what you'll be able to achieve. So make sure that you have these 3 goals in mind: your short-term goal, your medium-term goal, and your long-term goal. And don't forget to add an introduction and conclusion as you are writing an essay. So that is what I wanted to add.
Okay, very helpful. I'll come back to you. I think your network is now behaving. Selena, I don't know whether Cherubin is here. Cherubin, if you're here, can you just give me a thumbs up in the comment section? But Selena, how did you answer that question?
Okay, so I'll just use examples from my essay to answer this. So as I mentioned earlier in my networking essay, I built a relationship with a professor in the agric engineering department. And because what I want to do is development studies, we already discussed a project that I intend to pursue when I come back to Ghana. So for my short-term goal, with my organization in mind, I just mentioned what I want to do. That's like, as Brysa said rightly, in the first and the second year, what I want to do, mention the project that I wanted to do and the impact that that project would have, plus the knowledge I would have acquired from my master's, and then the networks I would have built here too. Then in my medium-term goal, it was just a build-up on my short-term goal. It's what I'll be doing that's bigger, expanding my NGO, doing bigger things, probably working for other bigger developmental organizations and expanding my reach and building my expertise and networks. And then for my long-term goal, I spoke about doing a PhD in development studies and probably lecturing at the University of Ghana in the area of development. So I think one of the things that also has to be taken into consideration when writing this essay is that all of these goals, even though like you've divided them into 3 different goals, should always link. You shouldn't say one thing for your short term and in the medium term, what you're saying doesn't really link with. It should all be a build up. Probably you're just growing from one point to the other and doing greater things, but hopefully in the same area. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Joel?
Yep. So from a career coach perspective, I mean, I have my own way of, I love figures a lot. Maybe that's why I'm doing business analytics. But anyway, your career plan has to be smart, right? And it all begins from the coherence I mentioned earlier. So with regards to the introduction, for me, what I did was that I did a personal reflection of what type of impact I've created, no matter how small it is, so far in line with what I want to do in the future. So I'm talking about using data for helping business solutions. What have I done in that area so far? So I use that as my introduction to the career plan. So it was like, this is what I've been able to do with the little resource that I have, right? So after getting the training from the program, this is what I want to do. Then I moved on to my short-term goal. So for me, I wanted it to be very realistic for me. So instead of using the short-term label, I rather use the years. So by 2021, this is what I want to achieve. By 2025, this is what I want to achieve. By 2020, 2030, whatever it is, this is what I want to achieve. And I really focused on making it a smart goal. I mean, people always say, make your goal smart, make your goal smart. But it's really about being specific about what you want to do. So you don't say that you want to maybe cause development in the country, right? That is like very broad. It's not so specific. But if you say that you want to cause development or you want to lead change in the area of community pharmacy practice or in the area of commercial pharmacy, what type of change do you want to lead? You need to be very specific about that. Maybe you want to reduce the rate at which medicines are expiring, and through that, patients can get very affordable medicines and all of that. That is quite clear. It should also be measurable, and you should be able to add figures to it. So if you are looking at going through an initiative like what I just mentioned, how many community pharmacies do you want to reach? How many patients do you want to reach? Because at the end of the day, we should be able to say that, okay, you've been able to achieve 20% of your goal, 30% of your goal, 50% of your goal. And that comes with adding the figures. It makes it measurable. Now, the A is the attainable, right? You have to make sure that whatever you're doing is, yeah, it's ambitious, all right, but it's something that really can be achieved within that period. You can't say that maybe you come back and within the first 2 years, you want to build a very big hospital, or you want to secure funds for a very big project, knowing very well that that cannot happen. It's not really attainable. It's not realistic. The next one is it being relevant. So the relevant bit, I would say, is that because you are writing in the light of Chevening, you are looking at their projects that they are doing. Don't worry if whatever you're going to do does not align with their project, but just try and find out if whatever project that you'll be doing or whatever work that you'll be doing would align with some of the goals of the UK. It doesn't necessarily have to be any of the UK projects, but any interest that the UK government has in a country. Try and align your goal with that. You can also align it with the Sustainable Development Goals. I mean, most of these organizations are aligned with the SDGs anyway. So worst case scenario, if you can align it with what the UK is doing in your country, you can align it with the Sustainable Development Goals. So it should be relevant to the society that you're in. And obviously, I mean, if it's relevant to Chevening, it makes it better. It's relevant to the UK government. And then the last one is the time-bound factor. So by adding the year, saying that, okay, short-term goal, medium-term, long-term goals, you are trying to let them know that there's a timeline to it. And so you're going to stay objective, or you're going to stay focused on the goal that you want to achieve. So basically your short-term goal should be maybe 1 to 2 years. Your medium-term goal should be by the 5th year when you're back. And then your long-term goal should be after the 10th year, between the 5th and the 10th year and beyond. So that's how I actually approached my career plan question.
Great. Seth?
Yes, so I think like my fellow scholars have said, I also followed the same trend, talking about my short, medium, and long-term goals. So in my essay, I spoke about the fact that because I'm doing a program which none of my colleagues at work had or has done it, it would put me in a position of moving ahead or getting a promotion, which would help me to achieve the goals that I have indicated. And so I indicated that my short-term goal would get in a higher position within my organization. And also, I also talked about the problems that are indicated in my leadership and influence essay, as when I'm able to get that position, I will be in a situation where I can influence people. I can be able to bring out policies. And so for my medium-term goal, I talked about the fact that I'll be able to initiate or influence policies that would help to resolve some of the issues that I've identified as challenges, which because of that, I believe that the scholarship will help me to achieve. And then in my long-term goal, I talked about the fact that I will be a director in I think I mentioned Ghana Health Service, and I talked also about the fact that in the long term, I'll be part of an association of health administrators in Ghana, which would help me and also be able to influence that association so that we can be able to influence policy that can bring about challenges that have to do with health financing in Ghana. And I think I also mentioned some projects that I believe in my long-term goals, together with the UK government, which were related to maternal and infant mortality, which is part of the Sustainable Development Goals. And I linked my long-term goals to those areas.
Yeah. Melissa?
Hi. Okay.
Melissa's network. Oopsie.
Short to medium goals and long-term goals. As some people divided it short and long-term. So I started off by saying how there are lots of data around, and there's a demand for tech experts. So I was influenced to go into something like that, to come back and help my community or businesses run using data science, data analytics stuff, so that they'll be able to make more returns, make more revenues, and maximize profits. And for my long-term goal, I linked it to what Ghana was doing. I was lucky that our Vice President, Mahamudu Bawumia, was going through the digitization and everything. So I linked it to digital transformation in Ghana, and Ghana going fully digital. So it's quite easy for me to come with such things. I talked about I'm sorry, just laughing. I'm just telling you as it is. Yeah. So talking about how the land, how you're digitizing everything at the land sector, the driver's license and all that, and what the UK is also doing in Ghana in terms of equipping young people with digital skills and how they can help their economy with industrialization goals as well. So I think what Joel said, we have to talk about the sustainable development goals and also link it to what either the government is doing or what the UK is doing in Ghana is very, very important. And all the essays you're writing, they should be coherent, like they should just follow each other. You shouldn't miss the point in the career and have another point in the leadership or the study or the networking.
Yeah. Eugene?
Do I have to talk again? I think we've
You said it all, eh?
we all went by this in our own unique ways, but it's all about the coherence from where you started: leadership, networking, the programs you are going to do, and what they will come back to benefit your country. I began this particular one by saying how important it is for everyone to have a career plan. Then I jumped on straight there. Post-graduation, I'm going to return back to my work. I'm getting back to my service. And because I have listed problems in my, even in my leadership, networking and all that, I've stated problems that are pushing me to do this particular program. So I said, in my short term, between the first and third year, I'm going to get back to my hospital, revamp the mental health unit, probably bring in some new diagnostic assessment tools and all that. Beef it up, make it one of the sought after centers for mental health in the region and probably the country. I went on to say how every, I would be using network gotten from the UK, my hospital management and stakeholders in all this to help me probably raise the necessary tools, funds, and everything to revamp or to beef up mental health care within this area. I went on to talk about, because I also elicited a couple of things about my NGO. I didn't talk about, specifically about the NGO here. I just mentioned that because of my extensive experience in volunteerism and community service, and also based on that, there's something that the UK, I think the UK has this, I think one of the additions of not leaving anybody behind. I brought that quote in quickly, that because of my extensive experience in volunteerism and all that, and the UK's whatever of not leaving anybody behind, I have a fresh, I wish I could say this, but because it's something I want, it's a novel, something I want to do, so I won't say that exactly. I want to put this initiative, something specific, which will help do this, and that. That's actually my medium term. So I stated that categorically. Again, it has to come with your figures, specific, just like Joel is saying, it has to be smart, okay? It has to be smart. And I went on to talk about post-graduation, like the long-term, what I want to do, get, again, some higher education after some 5 to 10 years. And that will just enable me to be really technically and competently involved in research and policy, facilitation and all that to improve mental health. So again, the coherence has to be there. Why are you doing this? You are building on that, why you want to do each and every one of them. And I also went on to talk about my proud association with a United Nations organization. So I would want to work with or for either the WHO or UNICEF to facilitate, to advance mental health and all of that. I make sure it has to state that either I am doing that for them, that's if I get the opportunity, or I am doing it in my own capacity. So it has to be smart. It has to really state everything. Then you have to have a conclusion to it. I mean, with my conclusions, I beg you, I always say the way I put it, I'm asking you, I'm telling you, give it to me. So the conclusion is important. Charlie, your grammar and everything. I'm not joking, seriously. After writing all of those things, you have to summarize in a way that, Charlie, it has to be powerful. When they, okay. Charlie,
The intro,
Thank you,
and
God.
the intro.
The intro, yeah.
yes, the intro too. The intro
Yeah.
too, Charlie. So that's it. And this is the last essay. So, Charlie, it doesn't have to be boring. Your last essay, they have read everything. And then to the last one, your intro. Charlie, the last paragraph.
Kill him.
Don't joke.
Final, last but not the least, Irene.
So I think my fellow Chevenists have said it all about the networking. What the little advice I'll give is that if you have a plan of doing your PhD, I'll advise that that can come in the longer term career plans, because I wouldn't advise you to start with that as an immediate or medium term plan, because Chevening expects you to at least come and make a lot of impact before rushing back to school. So I would advise that if you have a plan of going for PhD, you don't use that to start off. I started by first saying that in the immediate term, when I come back, I'm going to do a quick research, a cross-sectional survey to understand some of the health-seeking behaviors of women, because I'm doing something about sexual and reproductive health as my first choice. I said I would do a quick cross-sectional survey to identify why some women still deliver with traditional birth attendants. And then I focus that the findings of this essay will now inform what I should do next. And so in the medium term, I said that I was going to target managerial positions in the Ghana Health Service. And when I get these managerial positions, I'll target the departments of plan, policy, and all that. And I'm going to use the findings from the research I did immediately I arrived to advocate for improvements in maternal health services rendered in Ghana. And then I came down and down. And then I also encourage prospective applicants to actually look out for which UK programs or DFID programs are currently running in Ghana. It is very important because every organization is looking at sustainability plans. Most often in sub-Saharan Africa, what happens is that when people come in, NGOs come in, or people come to work with us, once they are gone, the program dies off.
Yeah,
so every program is looking for a sustainability plan. So if you are able to identify which UK or DFID programs are running, and then tell them how your position in Ghana, or when you return to Ghana, you are coming to help to sustain their gains. In my situation, I noticed that the DFID had done a lot in maternal health. And at a point, I mentioned that the DFID ran something in modern family planning method, and they were able to get about 40,000 women to adopt to using some of the new family planning methods. So I mentioned specifically that project, and when it was even initiated in Ghana, and even though it has ended, I mentioned that I'm going to use my knowledge and my position in the Ghana Health Service to work and make sure that that gain is sustained. Okay, so irrespective of whatever, they are investing in you. And so when you return, they expect that you are coming to work in line with projects they are already running, or coming to sustain some of the gains they've already achieved in Ghana. And in every situation, don't forget to mention that when I return to Ghana, because of course you are expected to return.
Yeah.
So for me, in every line, if you have the opportunity, say on my return, let them be rest assured that you are coming back.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Pat. Like right now, I've lost track of the questions, but I think Joel and Melissa, all of you have done justice to some of the questions. If you still have questions to ask, please, if you've already asked and it's not being answered, probably just slide them in the comment section. And let's do justice to some of them. As in 5 minutes, we can do that. Also, thank you so much to the panel. I don't know if any of you have any last words to add, maybe something we didn't touch on, but it's equally very important that they need to know or look out for. Melissa, I can see your hand.
Plagiarism.
Plagiarism. Thank you, Ghana, for Because of that, yeah, I can't even share my essays because I see a friend sent me an essay to review, and it happened to be an essay I've written some time back that I shared with. So I always add this confidentiality that please
Wow.
don't take it to anybody. It's between us because I know what I wrote. I know when that expected outcome was supposed to come. And I know this thing has traveled a lot. So if I'm sending you something or a CV or whatever, I tell you that it's between us and I'll maintain that confidentiality as much as possible. Plagiarism is key. Any other, Melly?
So talking about plagiarism, then what will happen is that in writing your essay, they've even stated that you can make references. So for me, even if I like at a moment where I mentioned the course modules, of course, sitting in Ghana, I didn't know the modules within the course. I went to the school website. So I did an in-text citation, LSTM website, 2019. So even with your essay, to avoid plagiarism, if you quote someone or if you get an information from somewhere, just add an in-text citation to it.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
and get people to proofread a lot for you. And if there are corrections that have been identified, make it a point to make the changes. Don't be lazy.
Yeah.
Don't be lazy.
Talking about proofread, yeah, I know we weren't expecting a very huge number. So I was thinking that you were going to give one person a chance to proofread their essays. But we are having a huge number that has stuck through the show. So I don't know how to give that. Please, could we put all our contact details? If it's email, whichever one you're comfortable with and whichever one you would want to do that. Now I'm like, I've washed my hand.
Lois, we already have people coming into our private messages.
Okay. Oh, then
yeah, people are serious.
Then let me just keep quiet.
So we give the opportunity to whoever is really serious and wants to apply. So
exactly,
the person will find a way of finding us.
Exactly. Absolutely.
What a challenge.
Yeah, Lois.
Yeah, Joel. Or Seth. Okay, let's take Seth.
Yes. Yeah, so what I want to say as my final comments is that yes, we all want to have this experience. It's great, it's wonderful to have this Chevening experience, but then it's not all of us who are going to get picked. And so we must also prepare our minds that in as much as we are looking forward to getting this opportunity, Chevening cannot accept all applicants. And I remember that in our cohorts, just about 2% of us were picked from those who made the application. So it means that a greater majority of applicants wouldn't get the opportunity. But if it happens that this round you don't get the opportunity, don't give up.
Yeah.
Maybe this time it's not your turn, and maybe next year will be your turn. Better yourself, improve yourself, and when the time is right, I believe you can get it. So if you don't get it this year, don't lose hope. Continue to do your best in your career in whatever you are doing, and I believe that as you improve yourself, the right time will come where you also get the opportunity. For myself, I applied 3 times before getting it, and so it will happen that a lot of us wouldn't get to have the scholarship on our first application. If you are lucky to get it, thumbs up and good luck. But then make up your mind that it is more likely that you're not going to be picked. But I'm sure that if you put in your best efforts, you'll be picked for this cohort. So all the best to all the applicants.
Thank you.
Yeah, to add to what Seth said, you need to manage your expectations. Manage it. This is I learned it from Joel. Manage it every time. And try as much as possible to apply to other scholarship programs apart from Chevening. It's a way of managing your expectation.
Yeah, Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a couple of scholarships that are fully funded that are available. I'll drop after the show, right after the show as well. So that just for people, don't put all your eggs in one basket. It's very important. Yeah. Joel, you wanted to say something before. After Joel, I'll
Yeah.
come to Eugene.
Okay.
Yeah. So with regards to those who need some form of assistance, I would I'll kindly ask you to do a lot of due diligence. Like before you bring your essay to a scholar, you should have, it's like you're having one shot at something. So you should have gone through, corrected typos, grammatical errors. The type of review that I'll be doing should be more on the content. It shouldn't be on typos and then grammatical errors. And the other thing I want to add on, a personal hack that I used was that I applied for Chevening, and then I did a lot of extraction from my Chevening essays for my personal statement. Okay. At the same time, to the references, I knew that getting access to my referees was going to be difficult. So I went in straight away to get a letter from them for my
So,
Chevening. Hello, can you hear me?
okay, coming. Yeah.
Yeah, so apart from using the Chevening essays for my personal statement for the application, which makes it quite easy, I also make sure that, because I knew that access to my mentors might be a bit challenging because there are people in high places, I decided to optimize the process. So what I did was that I told them ahead of time that I needed reference letters for the various universities and also for the Chevening application. So by December, I had gotten my referees to get my reference letters for all the schools, all the 3 schools. I mean, sometimes it's basically about changing the name of the school for the various 3 schools. There are some people who even used a generic reference letter for all the universities. So that is what I did, and then it saved me a lot of time. And then the last thing is that I chose my referees wisely. I chose people who were going to verify the content of the essays. It wasn't just anybody at all or people in high places, but people who could also vouch for the content in my essays, both on the side of academics and both on the side of professionalism. So I was able to get a fair balance between the two of them, because the bottom line is that your referee is supposed to be serve a testimonial about you. So if you're writing something in your Chevening essays and then your referee does not know, then obviously that person cannot endorse you for that particular information. So choose your references wisely. Thank you.
Thank you. Eugene?
Okay. So my final words. Please, one question is, are you ready for this? Okay, that's very important. Okay. I see everybody, we had a lot of people on the call, more than 130 plus people on the call, and everybody's asking for reading or proofreading, going through their essays. Unfortunately, I'm not trying to speak for everybody, but we may not be able to do all of that. What I want to advise is, right now that you have listened to this session, go back and read your essay and see what you have done right or what you haven't done right. Correct that. I see people leaving their emails. I don't think we would touch anybody's email or do anything.
No.
The essays we are reading, I think we went through a process before this session. We gave information out to people to guide them. So we expect that if you use those informations before you come to us, then you had gone through something, and then we will be able to work on that from there. So please, if you have listened to this session today, please go back and read your essay and see if there is something you can correct yourself.
Yeah.
After that, if you then find us, we would be sure that at least you have some information. Because honestly, I don't know if somebody has written to me personally in the call, but I haven't checked the whole chat session. I'm sorry about that. If you get to me to review your essay, I'm going to ask you if you had consumed today's session, or you had consumed a 7-day session that we had done for prospective applicants. If you
I've shared a
haven't,
link in the chat section.
yes,
I've shared a
if
link
you
in the chat
haven't,
section.
okay, if you haven't consumed any of these sessions, I'm sorry, I can't read your essay.
Yeah.
Because then it's going to be too much work. And the time limit, today's what? We don't have even up to, do we have 20 days? We don't.
Yeah.
And we are already into a system. We're in school, we have things to read, we have assignments and all of that ourselves. We are happy to help, okay, but the time is limited. So if you haven't done these things and you contact, we are sorry. It's not like we are intentionally not trying to help you, but we're just sorry. So please do due diligence and still contact us. We will create the time and see how best we can help you. So nobody should be sad, nobody should be anything. We are happy to help, but you should also be ready to help us. Thank you.
Someone just sent me a personal message. I like Eugene. He's very blunt. Hey, Cherubim, do you want to add something in Roysa before? It's been like 2 hours. Like, I'm exhausted already.
I think a lot has been said so far. I don't have anything new to add. I think just take the words of everybody, and I wish everyone the best.
Okay. So everybody here, thank you so much for joining the session. Just as Joel has done, Joel has added and linked to a 7-day session they had intensively with PowerPoint presentations on how to approach your scholarship applications. Whilst listening to this, you can also go there and listen to them, tweak your essays as much as possible before it gets to the scholars, ease the burden on them. As much as we try to help, don't make us bad people by coming back to you all the time and, not being able to, do what you asked to do.